So there's been a conversation even in our office within the last year or less about how do we get clients to write recommendations for us? And I would actually pose a much different question. And the question is, what are we doing to earn our recommendations? It's a very different question. My clients will email me and say, where's the email link to write your recommendation? Because there's been a service provided that has a desire that they want to do something for you. And I think we should be approaching business that way. That's just a very strong feeling I have. And it makes a big difference. Not how do we get them? What am I going to offer them? I'll send them a thank you card when they do it. Absolutely. They might even get a $10 thank you, coffee card or something. But I don't tell them I'm going to do that. I don't want them to feel incentivized to do it. I want them to do it because they feel like they want to do it. One thing I've noticed about my sellers, this has been a real recent epiphany for me. I thought, why are my sellers so motivated to do things? I honestly think it's because I roll up my sleeves and I'm working with them. And they're motivated when they see my motivation to make their house beautiful, they're motivated to do the same. And that's been like seriously the last 6 months, just an epiphany I've had. Like, why do I have such amazing clients? It's because it's like a manager that will get in there and work with their employees. That manager inspires them and they want to work harder for them. And I feel like that's what it is. We have a team effort. I don't do any of this alone. And I tell my sellers, like, it's all you. I'm like, no, it's not all me. You listened to my advice. You followed it. You worked hard for this. And together we make this happen. It is never alone. I am an incredibly candid person, and I have learned, ironically, to curb that a little bit. I'm still pretty straightforward, but I try to be very gracious in how I recommend things. And so often it's asked what they can do. And sometimes I'll start off with some real key things that I think are going to be make or breaks, right? Like the deck wasn't a make or break, but if they're willing to do it, it'll make a big difference. There have been times I've recommended things to clients and they vehemently defend whatever it is. And at that point I say, you know what? We'll just leave that then. If you take my advice, I can guarantee you your house is going to sell. I can't promise that client who doesn't take my advice that it's going to sell for the price I think it could, or that it will present as well. It will still sell. It just won't be for the highest price. And sometimes people don't get that. Like sometimes you can invest a minimal amount of money actually, and you can get huge returns because of the presentation. Because some people, especially if there's people who can do things themselves, because there's a lot of people who can't. And so when they see switching out light fixtures, that's $700 with an electrician. That was an $80 project. Do you see what I'm saying? And so to some people, it's a mountain. To others, it's like, I'll get that, not a problem. So it kind of depends on the scale, but I've learned to not be pushy about it. I've also learned that I call it creeping on people. Heidi, that's a terrible term, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But sometimes what I'll do is you know what, you could do that. And they do that. I'm like, since you've done that, it would probably be really good if you do that. And sometimes if they take it one at a time, it's not overwhelming.